In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why the mainstream media want you to be miserable, and this awareness is likely going to change your life. My name's Peter Sage, and for decades I've been vocal about why you should avoid the mainstream media. This doesn't come from personal preference, this comes from clinical psychology, this comes from understanding human behavior, something I've been teaching for almost 30 years. So pay attention, because this could likely change your life. The first thing you have to understand is that the media is not a public service. This is not a charity. The media is a business, and in today's world it is a very competitive business whose main agenda is to do one thing: get eyes on content, get clicks, pull your attention out of the mass of information that is in the world right now and lock it onto their content for one purpose. Why? To record you as a statistic or as a viewing statistic so that they can justify rate cards for advertising. That's the business model. And they do it through having a very clever understanding of how the human brain works. In other words, they don't have your agenda at heart, they have their agenda at heart. First point. Second point is this: that if you honestly think that the role of the media in today's world is to report the news, I got news for you. You're in Disneyland. No, the role of the media, as I said, is to get your attention. They do it by hooking a part of the brain called the amygdala. Let me explain. See, we take in so much information, especially visually, that you couldn't process that information consciously in one go. I'll give you an example. You're in a party, you're talking to a friend, you're having an in-depth conversation, there's conversations going on all around you, and somebody about 10 yards away in a separate conversation mentions your name, and you're deep in conversation, and all of a sudden you look up, because your reticular activating system, which is a part of the brain that votes on whether the information comes into your awareness or not, suddenly says, whoa, that's important, that's relevant. So I want you to imagine the reticular activating system standing as the gatekeeper to your conscious awareness. 99.9% plus of the information coming in is irrelevant to you. All of those other conversations were irrelevant to you, but they're being heard. And what it does, it picks up the carpet of your unconscious mind and it sweeps all of that data underneath until something flags up as important. Oh, your name comes above the carpet and gets your attention, comes into conscious awareness. That's how the reticular activating system works. Just like, you never noticed green cars before. You now buy a green car, you see them everywhere, because the reticular activating system knows that that is now relevant because you own one. You get the point. So where does the amygdala come in? This is where those people in the media that get paid lots of money to hook your attention out of the mass information start to work with biology in their favor rather than yours. See, the amygdala is like security. It has the ability to march to the front of the line and step over the carpet because it's designed to notice negative before positive. Now, the reason for that is because if you go back 10,000 years and you walk past an apple tree and you miss an apple, no big deal. But if you miss a snake, could be a big deal. So your reticular activating system is constantly scanning, and if something threatens you or induces uncertainty linked to a specific survival situation or a survival-based emotion like fear, for example, then it rides above the conscious awareness, and even if it's not relevant in your day-to-day life, it gets your attention. So the real role of the mainstream media is not to support you by doing this service of telling you all the things that are going on in the world. I'll get to that in a minute. Its job is to hook your amygdala to walk their information over the top of the carpet so that they can record you as a viewing statistic. Is this making sense? Now, people ask me, do you not watch the media? Are you freaking kidding me? Absolutely not. I cut it out every single part of my life. I have no clue what's going on in the world. I have every clue what's going on in my world. And I'm happy with that. And I have a belief that says if something's important out there, it'll find me. But people say, how do you know what's going on? I'm like, let me tell you what's going on in the world. I'll sum it up, right? Because if you've not figured out what the mainstream media's version of what's going on in the world is, I'll tell you. Right? The mainstream media's version is, it's all the same news, it just keeps happening to different people. So if you want to take charge of your life, if you want to take charge of how you get programmed, then understand that everything is going on in the world. A far better question to ask yourself is, what do you want to focus on? Again, take the Amazon rainforest at night. An example I use a lot. Everything's going on in the Amazon. Whereas if your awareness, your conscious awareness, is like a little flashlight and you get to choose what you want to focus on. And the media will grab that flashlight in your wrist and point it towards what it wants you to focus on, which is fear-based mentality, sensationalism. And as a result of that, oh my God, there's a snake eating a rat, versus you concentrating on programming yourself with why the world will work. Oh look, here's a hummingbird being born, rather than why it won't. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. In fact, let me show you how deep this rabbit hole goes. Let's say parents of the world, listen in for a second. You've got your child, little Johnny, 6 years old, walks out of the kitchen holding his bowl of cereal. And you turn around as a loving parent and say, Johnny, don't drop that bowl. What does Johnny do more often than not for it to be a coincidence? He drops the bowl. Why? Because the brain doesn't process negation. What the brain hears is drop the bowl, don't. In fact, some languages like French, for example, are actually structured that way in their linguistics. So the brain thinks in pictures, not words, so drop the bowl, don't. He gets a picture of him dropping the bowl. That becomes a little bit fearful because he's just been told by an authority figure, parent, not to do it, localizes in the tremor at the wrist, and he drops the bowl. Now, question for you. Who do we blame for that? We blame Johnny. But my point here, guys, is this. Why did the parent, instead of saying don't drop the bowl as an unconscious reaction, why did they say that instead of, hey Johnny, hold that bowl more tightly, which would have given a completely different result? It's because the conditioning over time relentlessly of why the world won't work, negative before positive, gets us to think and be programmed negative before positive. That is why the media should be cut out of your life. Or you're presented with a business opportunity, you're going to start thinking of reasons why it won't work. You're going to start feeling self-doubt. Why? Because your brain has been trained and conditioned over time to think negative before positive, to think why you can't, not how you can. That's why you need to cut out all media exposure, because whether you like it or not, as human beings, we are cybernetic organisms. We are programmable by design. You don't get to vote, and I don't get to vote on whether you or I get programmed. We only get to vote on how we get programmed. For example, if you're in a retail store and they're playing Christmas music all day to customers coming in because it's the holiday season, guess what you're going to be thinking about, humming to yourself, tapping your feet to in the shower over time. Even if you don't like Christmas music, it doesn't matter. You've been programmed by your environment consistently, even unconsciously, and that will have a massive effect on you moving forward. So in summary, remember, the media do not have your best interests at heart. They manage to get your attention out of mass information through stimulating the amygdala, which is linked to fear and misery rather than possibility and joy. Remember, what's going on in the world? Everything's going on in the world. Why would you wake up in the morning and hear about somebody you've never met, in a country you've never been to, or a place that you're not going to go to, and all of the stuff that's going wrong in their world while you're eating your toast and cereal? Why would you program yourself at that level? Your job is to be the star of your own movie of possibility, not be a film extra in somebody else's drama. So, send them love, but don't expose yourself to being constantly programmed as to why the world doesn't work. And again, remember, it's all the same news, it just keeps happening to different people. Go empower yourself, go live the life of your dreams, and cut the media out of your life. Hey, this is Peter Sage. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you do, please click the subscribe button, click the bell notification so I can deliver some more life-changing awarenesses to you to impact your life. Leave a comment below, and if you really want to help somebody, please share this video with those that you care about so that we can start to help other people beyond the reach of just you and I. I love you, and I'll see you on another video soon.